there's a worldwide pandemic, and no, this is not about the coronavirus, but yet another serious pandemic that has been a major issue across the many generations around the world. Nearly 14 out of 100 people in the United States in 2019 has smoked tobacco. Cigarettes are dangerous since it's an issue that can easily be prevented, since smoking can lead to many forms of illnesses that can be fatal, if not seriously detrimental to the body. If someone does decide to quit smoking tobacco, this will not only benefit the host, but the people around the host as well, or the original smoker. I will speak about the many problems that come with smoking, and I will advise people who do consume cigarettes to stop now. Because, and since everyone is different, everyone will have their own ways of dealing with smoking and how to quit it, which is great. I will also inform the audience about how smoking is bad for a person economically, physically, socially, and mentally. So one of the most obvious a person should stop smoking is economically, since the price of an average cigarette box is $6.28, which adds up to $100 and $88 a month, and up to $2,000 per year is wasted on cigarette box, and it varies from person to person. One person may buy more cigarettes, or another person might buy less cigarettes, but on it's pretty much the former, which is more cigarette people spend more money on cigarettes, which is sad. And as entry prices equals more spending. So another reason people should stop smoking is low income household. A look at low income population brings stressful times, and since cigarettes are used to calm the nerves, low income population buys cigarettes, and this has a connection between low income population and high cigarette consumption. And this should just stop. You shouldn't smoke just because stressful times. Smoking also has some dangerous side effects, but both economically and physically, and can be life threatening or, if not, seriously harming. So why should another reason you should stop smoking is it can physically harm a person, such as developing coronary heart disease, and and smoking increases the chance of developing coronary heart disease by 2 or 4 times. It also develops lung cancer because obviously you're inhaling a poisonous substance, so you're obviously going to develop lung cancer and develop COPD. And what is COPD? COPD is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which makes it harder for a person to breathe, much worse for a person who has asthma. Cigarettes also leads to cardiovascular disease, which leads to strokes. And what is stroke? Stroke is blood clots around the blood vessels bursting around the brain or the heart, which is fatal. And a personal reason why I don't smoke is it ages a person faster. And for a person who looks older than what they really are, I don't want to look older more just because cigarettes. So don't smoke, please. Another physical reason why you should stop smoking is birth effects. Birth effects such as stillbirth, low birth weight, and SIDS. What are SIDS? SIDS is sudden infant death syndrome, which is what it sounds like, which is the sudden death of an infant for no apparent reason up to the age of 1. And you don't want your child to die just because you smoke. Don't smoke while you're pregnant, please. And another birth effect is preterm birth. Another great reason to stop smoking, and I'm glad people do this, is people shame people for smoking, and I'm one of them. I shame whenever I see a person smoking, I don't view them in the same light as other people because why smoke? And another social factor is secondhand smoking. What is secondhand smoking? Secondhand smoking is also known as passive smoking. Is when a person inhales smoke of a cigarette, which is not the intended smoker. So like, I smoke, the person around me doesn't smoke, but I puff out fumes. The other person inhales this fume. That is secondhand smoking. And what does secondhand smoking lead to? It leads to the same effects that the other smoker does, which is the list I just stated, which coronary heart disease development, lung cancer develops, COPD, the former. Another reason you should stop smoking is social view. Non-smokers see smokers in a bad light, me including. As I said, I don't view people who smoke in a very good light. It also leaves a smoker with a bad smell. It's a really distinguishable smell that a smoker has, and you don't want to be that person that smells like cigarettes, man. Don't do that. And it also leaves a bad impression in the youth, which the youth sees the adult smoking and they want to acquire that same habit. and which leads to early smoking. And you don't want to see younger population smoking. It's always a bad view. It's always a bad thing to see. Similar to that of what smoking can cause to the body physically, it can also cause effects to the mental side as well. And another reason you should stop smoking is the mental effects, which is addiction. Nicotine reaches the brain within 10 seconds, which is crazy. And what does nicotine do to the brain? It increases the mood, concentration, relaxes muscles, and also decreases anger, which is all great and good. But with everything good, there's always gonna be something bad. And what's the bad? Withdrawal. What is withdrawal? Withdrawal is whenever a smoker person or a person who's been taking drugs does not get the drugs that they need, and often increasing the effects they want to sedate with the drugs. In this case, smoking, which is nicotine. Which nicotine sedates, relaxes the muscles and decreases anger. So that's what causes. So why should you stop smoking? Well, first of all, economically, since a cigarette box is really cheap, it'll just make people want to buy more and more and more, which just burns through your money. Which is Don't waste your money on cigarettes, please. No. Low income households, it has a connection with high cigarette consumption. Physical illness such as coronary heart disease, lung cancer, COPD, cardiovascular disease, and such develop because you're inhaling smoke. Don't do that. And there are also some birth effects that come with smoking. Secondhand smoking, you don't want the people around you to develop illnesses just because you want to smoke. So don't smoke, please. How many times am I gonna say that? And people will see you in a bad light, me including. So don't smoke. And addiction, you'll develop an addiction since you smoke. You develop addiction. You will never know how to stop. Sadly, the worldwide pandemic of cigarette smoking has plagued the country for centuries, affecting 1/10 of the population of this country. And since smoking can be easily prevented, it leaves me a sour taste in my mouth that such unfortunate events result over such bad habits. On a great note, there are people who are willingly and actively trying to quit smoking, which should always be seen in a courageous light. So I'm really proud of people who try to quit smoking, and I wish there are more people who are smokers to quit smoking, which is always a great thing to do. Smoking tobacco or cigarettes can lead to economically, physically, socially, and mental issues, which is crazy because you don't want to develop these issues just because you want to have a cigarette. So please don't have cigarettes. Smoking products for health purposes can be allowed for consumption with a written prescription by an authorized physician. A certain variety of smoking products can be consumed. There has been a steady decline of cigarette consumption, but there has been a rise of another form of smoking. Nicotine addiction pertaining to vapor-related smoking is another form of smoking that has taken popularity across the younger population. This is also a growing issue that's been occurring nationwide and worldwide. We must set an example to the younger population by teaching them that smoking is a bad habit to acquire, and to achieve that, we must first end the pandemic of cigarette smoking, nationwide. So, thank you.